Hey everybody, Professor Padgett here. I want to talk to you really quick about the term paper. There's always a little bit of confusion about this, and so I want to make it super simple. When I was going to school, I always found that the Lord was speaking to me about a lot of different things throughout that semester. And usually I was in a course that was going to have me write a term paper. And I remember thinking, gosh, I sure wish that they would let me write about what I'm super pumped about right now, what I'm passionate about right now. But instead I got to do a term paper on this, or that. What I want to do is give you the freedom to explore an area that maybe the Lord's been kind of provoking this semester, and maybe a topic that you've been thinking about for a long time. You're passionate about it. Because what I've found is that if you're excited about the topic, then you're going to be excited about writing about that topic. And I have to tell you, after reading a bazillion term papers, I love to read it. A paper that somebody has been excited about writing and researching. So a couple things to keep in mind. One, it's not a journal entry. This is a research paper. So you need to find an area that has some depth in terms of study and peer-reviewed journals and books that have been written on it so that you can get resources. The second thing is that you want to have a topic that you're excited about. Like I said, that's going to be a motivation for the way you write it. And the third is that you need to do something that's different than what we're already talking about in class. So for example, if you want to do something on the Assumption, or you want to do something on the Immaculate Conception, or Mary as Theotokos, or the Ever Virgin, the four Marian dogmas, maybe you pick that. You cannot write a paper that's basically regurgitating what we're getting in the classroom. It's a research paper, so you have to explore it maybe a little bit different. You could, for example, with the Assumption, you could explore the difference between the Eastern Church's understanding of the Dormition and, of course, the Catholic understanding of the Assumption. And you could talk about those discrepancies or differences and see what happens there. So you'd have to do some research on what some of the primary theologians have said in the East and what some on the West have said, and what the church defined and what she didn't define. That's an example. But you can do a research paper on pretty much anything as long as it falls within the world of Catholicism. So you could do something on papal infallibility, or a pope that you like. You could do something on a saint, any saint that you love. If you want to explore that more, usually in the paper, I require 4 simple things. One, you have to show biblical. Where does this paper, where does the topic fall in terms of a biblical reflection? If you're going to do something on the Eucharist, for example, there's a biblical heritage there that you need to unpack. Second is a ecclesial. What does the church have to say about that topic? So you can't, for example, do something on Mariology and then ignore Lumen Gentium's 8th chapter, which is specifically on Mary. So biblical, ecclesial, theological. What are the primary insights from major theologians on that particular topic? So you're going to want to make sure you research that. So if you're going to do the liturgy, for example, it would be weird if you didn't really point to and talk about Pope Benedict the 16th. So that would be important. And then ultimately in the end, I like to have saintly, something that the saints have said. Sometimes that overlaps with your topic and maybe something from the church. That's fine. But in the last hurrah, which is so maybe around the 5th, 4.5, right? Just a little personal. How did that topic impact you? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So when you do your research paper, it's 7 to 10 pages. The title page and the bibliography do not count as your content. So 7 to 10 pages numbered on a topic that you're super passionate about. There's a lot of places that you can find resources. There's of course, at CDU, you can access the library there. There are peer-reviewed journals. So when I say that, that's things like the Thomist, Communio. There's basically places that theologians are writing, and they're a little bit more substantial, and they're respected a little bit more. So like places like Catholic Answers and I don't know, our Sunday Visitor online magazine, those are really more supplemental. I don't consider that to be a primary source. So I'd like to see for research papers a lot of different sources. So think of it like this. Maybe you studied this topic a lot, but because you're in a undergrad program as a general rule, or even graduate, you want to show where the idea is coming from, and you want to also show that you're not just coming up with this idea on your own. We don't really want a novel idea too often in Catholicism. Sometimes you can have a heresy named after you if you do that. So basically, you're looking for saints in the church and what she has to say about the topic, because then it lays a good foundation. So when you offer some theological position that may be a little bit different than the norm, you can see where it fits in the church in her opinion and the saints. And then you can put your insights as you develop the paper together, but you want to source where your insights are coming from. So direct quotations, right? That's put at the bottom in a footnote. Where is that coming from? The author, the book, the title, and all that stuff. And then even where ideas come from, that's cross-reference. So you can put CF or C, S-E-E, dot, and then show where that's coming from. That's very important for a paper. So long and the short of it is, enjoy the paper. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be well worth it. And if you put a lot of energy into it, I'm probably going to like it. So thank you. And if you have any questions, you can certainly send me a note and I'll do what I can. I like to have the idea of what you're going to do your paper on. So you send me a note and upload that in the appropriate place. Say, here's what I want to do my research paper on. And I will just click, it's good. And then at the end, when near the end of the course, when you hand it in, I'm going to be looking for, did they have a biblical? Did they have an ecclesial? Is there theological and saints? And did they put a little personal thing in there? So that's kind of the structure, and it should work for you. So I'm excited. Jump in and enjoy.